Entry-level hiring at the Big Four collapsed by 50% since 2023. Unemployment for new US grads is now 5.8%, higher than the national average of 4.0%. That has never happened in modern American history. The bottom rung of the career ladder didn't just break. AI sawed it off before Gen Z could touch it. Here's what nobody wants to admit. For 20 years, every government on Earth told kids the same thing. Get a degree, win the future. And they listened. Tertiary enrollment in South Korea hit 98%. The US pushed past 88%. The UK and Canada blew past 70%. We didn't just expand higher education, we industrialized it. We built a degree factory running 24/7, pumping out analysts, coders, paralegals, and consultants by the millions. The promise was simple. Scarcity equals salary. But scarcity is gone. The supply curve exploded, and the moment ChatGPT shipped in November 2022, the demand curve for everything those graduates were trained to do flatlined. The class of 2026 is walking into a market that was engineered for 2005. Now the counter-argument. Every recession, pundits say the same thing. Young people always struggle in downturns, it's cyclical, they'll be fine. Wrong. This time, the pattern inverted. Look at unemployment for workers with advanced education versus the general workforce. For 40 years, the rule was ironclad. More education, less unemployment. That rule just broke. In the US, unemployment among degree holders aged 22 to 27 is rising faster than for high school grads. The New York Fed confirmed it. Oxford Economics confirmed it. Even the Bureau of Labor Statistics confirmed it. This isn't a cycle. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs are seeing wage growth. Junior consultants are seeing rescinded offers. The premium on a degree didn't shrink. It flipped sign. So, who gets hit hardest? The countries whose entire GDP is white-collar. Services account for 80% of the US economy, 79% in the UK, 71% in France. These aren't manufacturing nations anymore. They're spreadsheet nations. Legal memos, marketing copy, financial models, customer support, code reviews. Every single one of those tasks is now sitting inside a $20 ChatGPT subscription. Goldman Sachs estimated 300 million jobs are exposed to generative AI. The exposure isn't random. It maps almost perfectly onto the services share of GDP. Germany, with its industrial backbone, is partially insulated. The US, UK, and Korea fully loaded into the blast radius. Now overlay the second variable, R&D spending. Because the countries firing junior staff aren't the countries underinvesting in AI, they're the countries leading it. South Korea spends 4.9% of GDP on R&D, more than any major economy on Earth. The US is at 3.5% and climbing. These nations built the very models displacing their own graduates. It's not foreign competition eating these jobs. It's domestic capex. When Meta cuts 21,000 workers and simultaneously announces $65 billion in AI infrastructure, that's not a contradiction. That's the trade. Capital is being reallocated from junior salaries to GPU clusters in real time, and the spreadsheet says GPUs win. Zoom into the cohort that's actually graduating. Youth unemployment in the UK just hit 14.8%. In France, 17%. In Korea, the official rate is 6%, but factor in the millions of degree holders categorized as resting or in endless prep academies, and the real number is north of 25%. Even Japan, which historically protected new graduates through the shukatsu hiring system, is seeing major firms quietly shrink graduate intake classes. This is what a structural break looks like, not a recession, not a hiccup. A permanent recalibration of what employers need from a human under 25. And the answer increasingly is nothing they can't get from an API. Put it all together. skyrocketing enrollment, collapsing entry-level demand, inverted degree premium, service economies in the crosshairs, R&D budgets funding the replacement. This isn't 5 trends. It's one trend with 5 fingerprints. The career ladder used to look like this: internship, analyst, associate, manager, partner. AI didn't disrupt that ladder. It deleted rungs 1 and 2, and without those rungs, there is no path to 3, 4, or 5. We are about to discover what happens to a society that spent 20 years training a generation for jobs that no longer exist. The class of 2026 is the canary. The mine shaft is the next decade. Here's the verdict. The college degree is now a depreciating asset. Not worthless, depreciating. Every year you hold one without converting it into specialized AI-resistant skills, it loses value faster than a new car off the lot. The countries that bet hardest on credentialism, the US, UK, and South Korea, produced the most overeducated, underemployed generation in 50 years. And the institutions that profited from selling those credentials are the last people who will tell you the truth. The labor market doesn't care about your GPA. It cares whether a model can do your job for $0.2 per query. For most entry-level white-collar work, the answer is already yes. The class of 2026 isn't entering a tough job market. They're entering a different economy. If you want the charts behind the headlines, not vibes, not takes, just data, subscribe. I publish one deep dive a week, and every claim is sourced. Next video: which 12 jobs the data says are actually safe. See you there.